Hey, everybody. Welcome to Super Dope Plus Ultra. I'm Kelly. I'm here with Kyle, as always. Hi, Kyle. How are
Plus
you?
Ultra. I was late
Plus
this week.
Ultra.
Yeah, I think I got to start yelling it with you every week.
Definitely do. I liked how last time you got in there right away.
Welcome to Super Dope Plus Ultra. So you should have yelled it with me. We
Oh,
we
is this
gotta
our rehearsal?
we gotta have a production meeting after this. We got a lot to talk about.
All right. All right. I guess. Give me some notes.
Word.
Well, episode 99, Our Brawl. What did you think? Just overall thought.
All right. So I appreciated a lot in this episode. From like the little moments each character has respectively. Everyone's got a couple of seconds to be badass and do their thing, and you feel good about the students of class 1A. But also knowing everything that we just had to slog through to
Mm,
get to match 5 and have it wrap up the way it did. I get why it did what it did from like a storytelling perspective. Like Bakugo ended his match in less than 5 minutes. Want to reinforce that parallel paths thing that him and Deku got going on. Deku's got to do pretty much the same thing. Like I get it, but dude, I just sat through 12 episodes of mostly shit to get here. And that's how we're gonna wrap it up. And then I have to watch a second half of the episode that has nothing to do. I mean, it has everything to do with it. It's a critique afterward, but like, I don't know, man. Pacing's a real tricky thing with this show the last couple of seasons.
Yes, I definitely agree. I have that. I feel the same way. I was like, we just finally had like some kind of crazy stuff happen in this last episode. And then this one kind of felt a little, I mean, not flat, but it did feel like we had to go through a lot of shit to get here.
The problem I think that we have with this episode is, at least for me, like coming from somebody who hasn't read the books, not really anyway. I'll get to that in a second, but last week's episode was very unexpected to me, and it
Mm,
was a new development in a different part of the story outside of, match 5 and the 1A, 1B co-training stuff. It was outside of the realm of that because it had to do with Deku and One for All, and it was a nice welcomed break because again, shit's been a bit of a slog. So to have us have kind of a break episode last week where something new and interesting happens, to get back to this, like going back to a very familiar format and this 1A, 1B thing, and then just have it end sort of uneventfully, I guess I'll say.
yes.
It was like, what the fuck, dude? Why did I even watch this week? Seriously, Kelly, I watched this shit on Saturday and thought to myself, maybe we could just do like a 2-for-1 episode next week. But
Okay.
I don't want to get into the habit of that this early on in our
Same.
run. So
I
uh,
did also have a
great.
similar feeling where I was like, oh my gosh, because I don't want to be critical of the show because I
I
do
do.
love the show.
I'll be critical all goddamn day.
Yeah, in the last minute, maybe I'll save it for the end so people can skip it if they want to, but I'm gonna have, like, 2 minutes solid of just complaining at the end of this episode.
Oh my
That's okay.
god. All right. So stick around to the end of the episode
Yeah,
after birthdays, maybe. We'll just have
that
Kelly
sounds
do like
great.
a 2-minute expletive
Complaint
laced
corner.
rant. Yeah.
Yes, and then you
Complaint
can skip
corner.
it if you want to. Kelly's complaint corner.
Yeah, and that way, if they get to the end and they're like, "Shit, my girl hasn't complained yet," I have to keep listening.
Yeah, alright, that sounds perfect, that's what we'll do. So now you know what to look forward to, you guys. Alright.
Woo!
Alright. So episode 99, Our Brawl. It starts us off, we get to see all the really cool things that happened in the last episode, which, I mean, was really cool. I'm glad they showed it again, all clipped together like that. It was really exciting. And we see Aizawa and Vlad and All Might, and they decide, it looks sort of like Midoriya's gotten everything back under control, so they're gonna let the match continue, which is cool. I'm like down for that. All Might's like, Aizawa, I think you're actually secretly nicer than everyone thinks you are. And he's like, yeah, I guess.
I love the moment though, because Aizawa's got every reason to want to make sure that not just Deku fucking succeeds in his class,
Mm,
and I know that that's all that All Might sees because he's scared for his boy. He doesn't know
yeah.
what the hell's going. Nobody knows what's going on, but All Might has the additional context of knowing like all for one, one for all shit's happening right now, and I don't know what it is, and I'm kind of this kid's go-to for the answers on this stuff, and yeah, I don't know how to handle this. Can we just skip class today, please?
Yeah, he looks stressed. He's like, Definitely not handling it well, but as I was calm, cool, and collected, and I kinda get his point because he says, like, if this is some type of quirk, if something goes wrong, as long as I'm watching him, I can stop it, so what's the harm?
The
I agree.
ultimate helicopter parent or potential helicopter parent.
Mm, definitely, just, like, lurking. Are they gonna be okay? So I'm glad we got to see the fight continue on. Midoriya, even though he seems a lot more calm, he's definitely still nervous. He doesn't want to use his quirk. Uraraka is like, "What are you gonna do? Are you gonna just fight quirkless?" Because he doesn't want to hurt the other students. So then I was like, "Great, this is gonna be so boring. We're just gonna see Midoriya have like a fist fight
I was hoping
with
for
Shinso."
a boy slap fight between him and Shinso.
Yeah, just
Kind
like
of,
pulling their wraps, pulling their hair, like,
yeah.
eh.
Well, it would have been a lot like their first fight in the sports
Yes,
festival. So to see like a more graduated version of that after they've been training to be heroes for whatever the last 6 months and a little bit more grown and can throw some punches, I would have been down to watch that. But hey,
we don't get that.
spoiler alert, no need.
Yeah, that doesn't happen. There's no bitch slapping.
Nope.
Well, not really.
I mean, a bitch got slapped,
Yeah.
and his name was Shinso.
Yeah, it's very true. Um, we get to see so Uraraka and Midoriya, they kind of, like, go off on their own little adventure, and Mineta and Mina, oh, sorta hold down the fort a bit against the other 3. I liked seeing them have some cool combo moves. Mineta has that Mineta bounce, which was cool until he made it creepy, but he wouldn't be Mineta if he didn't take advantage of the situation, I guess, but
Yeah, the great buckler. It affords him some booby to his face.
yes,
Good for
he gets to
you.
just bounce right into into Mina's titties.
A part of me
Hey,
wonders, like, did they at some point rehearse moves together like this and I
I
missed
don't
it?
know.
Or
I
is
don't
Mina just very creative with how she'll use pervy ass Minetta's mobility with his bouncing balls? Because it seemed they had a couple names for it. She uses her acid layback, and
Yep.
then it's the grape pinky combo with the
Mhm.
Minetta bouncer.
Yes.
I mean, I feel like Mina Ashito, even though she's kind of technically in the dumb track, she's creative enough to come up with that shit on the fly while she's throwing
Yeah.
hands, because throwing hands comes so natural to her.
Oh, definitely, it definitely does. Do you see she's got, like, zebra print and pink, like, girls like that, whew, don't ever pick a fight with them.
No, because
They'll
they're
throw down.
brave enough to wear pink zebra pants and not give a fuck about it. Do you think they'll
Yes,
hesitate on
they
punching
will
you in the
beat
face?
your ass.
For real.
I did think that was cool. I liked seeing Mineta be useful. And actually, I used to think he was really useless, but I sort of think that in this context, especially, he was pretty cool being able to bounce around on those little spots and their traps. Like if people bump into them, they get stuck. So I actually was pretty impressed.
Dual purpose. And then he uses his great balls at the end to tie up what's her name? Rule.
Rule. Well,
Yeah.
that was Uraraka who does that. She like pushes her into them. But
She's like, "Bitch, you live here now. You're stuck to these balls."
yeah, stay here, don't move.
Like
Heh.
it. I like it.
Side note is I'm really curious what Minetta's parents look like.
I bet you they're short and ugly.
Yeah, me too. But
Uh,
still, I was curious.
I bet you his dad's short and ugly, and his mom's probably like of average appearance.
Mm,
And then
okay.
he's like,
Like
"Wow, dad."
sitcom.
Yeah. But Minetta
Sitcom
probably grew up
style.
in a situation wherein he was like, "Wow, dad, you're ugly, but mom is way out of your league." So that kind of like set his bar pretty high for like what he
Mm,
aims for in terms of, pursuing women. Doesn't mean that he won't go to the perversionary tactics if he needs to, which he needs to.
he does need to, and he does. He
You gonna pop off,
utilizes it.
stick women to the wall. This is getting weirder the longer I
It
go
is
on.
getting weird. Yeah, maybe we should stop. Stop while we're ahead.
Next, next.
um, so Midoriya and Uraka, they kind of go after Shinso, right? They're trying to catch him. And Monoma swoops in out of nowhere. He'd just been waiting for his opportune moment. And to be honest, I actually really liked Monoma this episode. I thought he was really cool. He has like I don't know, he swoops in and punches Midoriya in the face, which I'm like, good for you, kid. I mean,
when it happens, I didn't even think that he made contact. I thought that Midoriya just barely dodged it and, like,
Dodged it.
stumbled forward with the dodge, but I
Hmm.
he made some impact.
Content. Yeah, he must have hit him a little bit at least.
Yeah.
But Uraraka is like, "I don't think so. Don't be putting your hands on my man. I learned martial arts," and gets him, like, in a arm lock. Like, I was good for you, girlfriend.
Gunhead martial arts represent.
Yes, absolutely. And, the whole thing that happens is that he tries to bluff that he copied Midoriya's quirk, and Midoriya bugs out because he's like, "Yo, if you try to use my quirk, you're gonna, like, literally rip your body into a million pieces." And it turns out he couldn't copy it, so
Feds shot me a text message yesterday afternoon that said, when that moment happened, he wanted Monoma to successfully copy his quirk so bad because he wanted to see all of his limbs explode off of his fucking body.
I wonder what if Recovery Girl could fix that. I highly doubt it.
Yeah, I feel like she'll be kissing Monoma for a minute, trying to grow his
Yeah.
arms and arms and legs back.
Oh my god, it was crazy. And you know what was so funny too to me is that I feel like they kind of made a big deal earlier, like in the other episode about being like, "Oh, I can copy his quirk," for it to just be like so quick. Like,
Well,
you know what I mean?
they bring it up, but then they also kinda undercut it right away by saying, when he can't copy somebody's quirk, it comes up as a blank.
Blank.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Dude, you just explained to me what's about to Of course he wants to copy Midoriya's quirk, who the fuck
Right.
wouldn't?
It's powerful.
And you already
Yeah.
told me that it's gonna end with a blank. Otherwise, if it wasn't gonna end with a blank, you probably wouldn't have told me about him potentially copying a quirk and it being blank. So,
Possible.
yeah, you
It's
wouldn't have
just
brought it up
another
unless you needed to establish a way out of
I
that.
guess. I just feel like it's another like instance where they kind of could have given us a little bit more like suspense about it. Like it's sort of like with the traitor, how it was like, "Oh my gosh, Hawks is the traitor. Oh, never mind, he's just being like a double agent."
Yeah, that's
You know what I mean?
a perfect
It's just like
example.
that again. Like, give us a little bit of time to really mull something over. Like, think he really has, this quirk. Like, what could that mean? Is he going to use it? Is he going to hurt himself? Like, don't make it like a 1 second thing. I don't know. That kind of irritated me a little bit. Not gonna lie.
So last week's episode, I've decided how I'm going to handle this the rest of the season. As we watch episodes, I'm going
Mhm.
back and then reading the chapters that that episode covers. So,
Cool.
last week's episode, that which is inherited, I went back and read those after we recorded last week, and I want to say it's 5 chapters in total. It's a good number of chapters, and it's
Yeah.
obviously, if you're a Dragon Ball Super Dope listener, it's a much different format than what we talk about on the monthly manga reviews because it's pushed out weekly. So
Mhm.
they're quick, they're compact, they're a very tiny part of a story. Sometimes it's a scene within a scene, but it's a flashback during that person's scene. Like it's some real parsed out shit that the anime staff, Studio Bones, has to cobble 4, 5, 6 chapters together sometimes just to get an episode out.
It's
I
true.
I wonder now that I'm gonna go back and read this week's episodes in the chapters, I wonder if it's done the same way, where they immediately just kinda let us know, like, "Yeah, no, never mind, it didn't work," you know? Or,
Mhm.
I guess I'd have to go back and read from a few weeks ago because that would be when they talked about the blank copy thing, so I don't know. Either way, I'm very curious to see how it translates from page to screen. But even though I'm kind of working it backwards, so that I still am kind of surprised each week.
I could be totally, completely making this up, right? Because sometimes I feel like I just invent things in my head. But I feel like in the manga, Monoma's quirk has to do with cards. And that's why he like pulls a blank, almost like tarot cards. And like he pulls a card and it ends up being a blank card. It doesn't have the quirk on it.
Huh?
And I think that maybe just for ease, they don't animate it like that. But I could literally just be full of shit. So,
So the
it's possible.
name of that segment is Kelly's Head Cannon.
Yeah.
I guess we'll
Well,
see if it
just when
checks
you
out.
read if you read the chapters for this, tell me if they do that or not. Because
All
I
right.
feel like they do
Yeah, I don't remember seeing a ton of him, if any, last week
in
in
the
the
last
chapters
one.
I read, because it was mostly about him flashing over and after he's being brainwashed. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I'll let you know if you just made that shit up out of nowhere.
Yeah, please do. Let me know because it's totally possible. It's honestly likely. The more I say it, the more I'm like, what am I talking about? I don't know.
All right, I'll let you know.
Cool.
Speaking of flashbacks within flashbacks, we have a nice
Oh my God.
flashback within a flashback, I'll say. The Shinso training flashback with Aizawa is probably my
My
favorite moment
favorite.
of this episode.
My favorite. I loved it. I think one, they're like the same person.
You mean
Loved
like
it.
from a personality perspective?
Yeah. Yeah. Like they're both like tired. They both are sort of like monotone. They both like cats. Not that that's like a big personality trait that people have. Like, oh my
Well, I
God, I like
mean,
cats. That's my personality. But I mean, some people are like that, but they both like cats. Like,
and you just look at how both of their quirks work. I mean,
mm-hmm.
essentially, they control people with their quirks. So
Yes.
brainwashing, very on the nose style, but Aizawa controls you by taking your shit away if he stares at you. So
Mm-hmm.
there is definitely some overlap's not the right word. Like parallel is that the word I'm going with this week?
Yeah.
So
Between them.
there's some parallels between them, but then even what Aizawa kind of lets him know in this flashback as he's giving him the rap training, rap training makes it sound like he's teaching Shinso to bust rhymes.
Oh, I
Not
think it makes it sound like he works at Chipotle. He's
that could
gonna
work
make a
too.
burrito.
I only fuck with Chipotle burrito bowls because I don't agree with the corporate rap training Chipotle gives to their people. My beans always
Too
bust
fat.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Can't be
too
walking around like that shit. Can barely
Yeah, I
bite it.
agree. I know, you can't get your mouth around it. Serious.
That
It's
sounded
girthy.
terrible. So the flashback that they have here, Aizawa like kind of says to him, first of all, you're not gonna have to go through 6 years of misery trying to learn this because you have me to show it to you.
Right.
But we have the kind of quirks where if we're not able to do something, that's it. Like it's all
We'll
on us.
die.
So yeah, we need to know how to do shit like this. This meaning
Yeah,
Chipotle rap training.
exactly. Gotta get your burritos tucked nice. Can't let anything fall out the bottom.
We ain't got no room for burrito bowls. It's
You
burritos or
can't eat that on the
bust.
go.
Bustin' burritos. Okay.
Well, all of that is just like a preface to show that Shinso's feeling pretty frustrated. Uraraka stays behind with Monoma, and Midoriya like races off after Shinso. He's like, I can't lose sight of him. If I lose where he is, it'll change the fight because now we'll have to be really worried about him brainwashing somebody. So he's trying to chase up after him, and he's freaking Midoriya is so fast. I forgot that Midoriya
Even
is so
even
fast,
as
even
he's
at
using
8%.
8%, yeah.
Oh my god, so fast. Because Shinso is having like this internal, I don't know, like he's like berating himself for not being good enough and he wanted to really prove himself during this fight and he kind of feels like he's running away. But he's very like mobile with those wraps. He's flying all over the place. He's going really far and Midoriya catches up to him in 1 freaking second.
Some
So,
Peter Parker shit that Shinso was up to
yes, it
with
was
the
very
raps and
Spider-Man-y.
swinging, but, like, even the internal monologue of beating himself up. That shit Peter Parker does to himself all the time.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Deku's just like, "Nah, pshoo, not today. I don't." He basically says, "I need to keep the people around me safe, or I don't wanna hurt the people around me." So,
Yeah.
even though he doesn't say it, I feel like when he says that to himself, he's like, "I gotta end this shit now because
Quick.
I've got some bad things going on in me, and if I don't win this, I might not get a handle on my power, some bad things might happen. Let's just finish it as quickly as possible."
Yes. And like he had said last week too, he doesn't want people to be worrying about him all the time. He wants to just be able to prove himself and he's been making all this progress and he just wants to I mean, I think he just wants to show off for Bakugo, but that's my own thing. So,
There was
anyway,
there was a couple of Bakugo shots in this one, like
he looks so
reaction
good.
shots.
I was like, "Damn, Bakugo, okay."
Um, Deku doesn't say anything about Bakugo.
That's true.
Like, even to himself, he's very, like, in the moment. So,
Mm.
unlike
Well, he
Bakugo,
just
who's,
had
like, the entire time is like, "Fucking fuck you, Deku. You see all this shit I'm doing? Fuck you,
yeah.
Deku."
I think that if Midoriya hadn't just had like a life-changing quirk eruption and like weird mind like internal crazy, there's people living inside of me with this quirk and I'm gonna get all these other quirks. I feel like if that hadn't happened, maybe he would have been a little bit more Bakugo focused. I do think that that kind of takes your mind off of it.
Super valid point. I do
I
want
would
to take
assume.
this opportunity to say, make sure you go follow us on Instagram at Super Dope Plus Ultra because Kelly learned how to make memes last week.
Oh my god, I thought it was so funny.
That face you make when you find out there's 8 other people living inside you, it was beautiful.
Oh my god, it was fabulous, wasn't it? I'm totally gonna make another one for this week, but I don't know what I'm gonna make it about yet.
Made with Meme-matic.
Yes.
Well done.
It just was like how to make memes. Meme generator.
That's how 65-year-old ladies start making their own Facebook
Yes.
content as well.
Yes, and you know what? I basically am a 65-year-old lady. I am working on a new jigsaw puzzle, and I just bought a new kind of herbal tea, and I'm really excited.
You and me are, as the kids would say, built different.
Yes, I am an old fogey,
I mean, I'm old too, but
unfortunately.
like for much different reasons. Anyway, continuing.
Anyway, so Midoriya catches up to him so fast, and Shinso's like, I'm gonna prove to you what I've learned. And he does that pipe pull down thing he had done in the first fight. And Midoriya just like apparently is the master of this quirk already because he uses Black Whip so easily and effortlessly to catch them. I was like, wait, so we're gonna just have you go from completely out of control to like, oh yeah, I can use this, no problem. He's like, oh, as soon as I realized that this power isn't against me, what did he say? He was like, I'm not scared of it. It's by my side. This power is by my side, so I can use it. And he catches them. So I was like, bro, I was gonna be really mad, to be honest. I was like prepared to be really mad, but the power fades out and like he can't really use it because he doesn't have full mastery of One for All. So I was like, okay, good, because I was gonna be furious, like furious if he just mastered it in 2 minutes after having, like, an episode. He had, like, an episode and just has mastery of this quirk now. I was like, "I don't think so."
So, in the midst of this basically black whip coming out of his hands and catching these falling pipes, he's got this inner monologue where he's like, "Hey, I'm much calmer now." And
Mhm.
it kind of speaks to what Goggles, we're calling him Goggles, what he said last week about keeping your heart calm in the moment to be able to, I don't know if it's like activate or access the quirks or whatever, but the way in which he said it was like you need to have a calm heart in order to fully embrace the
Use it.
power of all for shit, one for all. Did it.
Yes, One for All.
But at that same time too, he talked about something that we kind of talked about last week, mostly as a joke. But he's like, I don't know what it is. Now that I saw that guy, like he wasn't a vestige, he wasn't like a ghostly
Mhm.
looking figure or anything. He was like fully realized person who reminded me a lot of All Might, even
Yes.
even his voice. I
Very
wonder.
reassuring.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very reassuring tone, but it's also a reassuring tone from somebody who, I mean, not only fucking lives inside of him, but also reminds him of his master, like
Mm.
directly in terms of like the physique, the overall bravado, even the voice. Like, I wonder if that helped him remain calm in that moment versus Shinso. And maybe that's kind of what activated the Black Whip, the calm heart, reassurance from the new master,
Yeah.
whatever. But this was my problem with this entire thing was right after he's done with it, he's like, can't use that power for a long time now. I'm like, the fuck's a long time mean?
Mastery of One for All, he said. He has to master One for All first.
so
That's what he
you
said.
so you gotta get all your fucking Pokemon badges before you can handle your
So,
Charizard. Is that what I'm hearing? Ash?
eh,
Ash Bitchum.
gotta
Ugh.
catch them all.
But if I still had to make a bet, All Might wins in an arm wrestling competition over Goggles every single day of the week.
Even as Small Might?
Even as Small Might. No, that's obviously a lie. That
Yeah, that is a
motherfucker ain't
lie.
winning an arm wrestling match against a baby. Let's be
I was
real.
gonna say.
But
He's all skin and bones.
Goggles, he's just living inside some little 15-year-old boy's head like a fucking creep.
Very true. Doesn't even
So
have a real body.
yeah, I think maybe Small Might does beat him in an arm wrestling match. Maybe a baby does too. One thing I actually no, I think it comes up here is we talked last week about Monoma having 3 watches,
Yes. Oh
and
my
they
gosh.
talked about exactly that this week.
Yes. I actually this is where I have, like, my little Monoma appreciation part of the podcast
As he
because I
fully becomes like a fully realized anime villain, even though he's in the fucking hero course.
so I have been hating on him so hard, but I actually loved him this episode. I loved the little speech he had earlier when he was like, "I'm not the protagonist. I'm just, like, the supporting character who outshines the protagonist." Okay, I was like, "That's a lot of self-realization right there," and actually, I'm so glad that you are being, like, kinda cool about it and you know that that's your role. So I was, like, really into that, and
I
how he
mean,
he likes his quirk, you know what I mean? Even though it's, like, kind of not really conventional. That
even
was
though I'm
cool.
fully in agreement with you on, the line of him being like a minor character having a what does he say? A more significant role or something?
He says, like, that an outshining a role that outshines the main character
Okay.
in
So,
any masterpiece.
yeah,
He's so dramatic.
and he's right, but dude, you can't anoint yourself that shit.
Yes,
You're
you
just supposed
can.
to let us think that and appreciate you for it. The second you pat yourself on the back for the shit I was already patting you on the back for, it makes me want to punch you in the back, not pat you anymore.
No, I liked it. I was kinda into it.
He is becoming like full Lord Frieza mode for all my Dragon Ball people. Like,
Oh, nice. I don't know
yeah,
who that is, but I think he's
lots of
being cool.
fucking monologues about how great he is and how smart he is, and ultimately he's just getting floated the fuck away back to the jail by some
I
pretty young thing
don't
in
know.
his the raps there.
I feel like he was kinda humble, even though he was bragging. He was, like, humble bragging, you know what I mean? Because so, yes, he's being pulled back to jail by Uraraka. She's floated him up, she's got him all tied up or whatever, she's taken him to jail, and he starts talking about his quirks. He's like, "Oh, I didn't know this, that he can have 3 quirks. I thought he could only have 1, but he just can only activate 1 at a time." So I was like, "Okay,
Yeah.
cool. This is
I don't
cool."
I don't like that we had to have this re-explained to us after last week. We
Yeah.
was it last week that we got like the freeze
Yeah,
frame?
little flash,
They didn't say
because they didn't
shit
say
about
that.
nope. They
Yeah,
said one quirk, he
1
could use
quirk
one quirk at a time. He didn't
for
say anything
5
about the
minutes.
number of quirks,
Mhm.
nothing. If they said he can copy multiple quirks but only use one at a time,
That's
okay.
different.
Okay, and I don't see why you wouldn't have said that because then I wouldn't have been asking questions about 3 fucking stupid pocket watches last week.
Yeah, I mean, true, because we were like, "Why do you have so many? This is ridiculous."
But he's playing the
But
game too. Like he's like,
yeah.
it could be 10 minutes now. You don't know because Baraka's watching the time. It's almost been 5 minutes to this point. He
Mhm.
might have Shinso's brainwashing. And like he goes on to further explain too, like, and you're not even sure if it's real or if it's him
He's just
bluffing to
making it
try to
up.
get out. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, Rule, her power, her quirk doesn't really like affect my body. So the effects will last longer. Basically, the nuts that I blow up or the screws that I blow up to a bigger size, even if I switch
They
over to a
stay
different
big.
quirk, they're not gonna shrink or anything. And I'm just like, oh, shut the fuck up and go to jail, Monoma. I don't care.
I don't know. I liked it because this is what I liked is that he starts being like, "Oh, I might have done something to give Shinso an opening, right?" And he says something, I wrote it down because I really liked it. He says, "This is my final desperate move from a supporting character." I don't know. I just really liked him in that moment. I liked that even though he's going to jail, he's still trying really hard to make it so that Shinso and his teammates can try to win. And when he says that, he's just like calmly sitting in jail. He could be freaking out, but he's not. He's like all calm. But Uaraka is like, yikes. He obviously did something to Deku, and I have to go after him and see if I can help. But she ends up changing her mind and trusting Midoriya, like he had said, and going back to help her other teammates, which was the right move because they were in trouble over there.
And Deku, not in trouble.
Didn't need any help. Yeah. He's got, like I mean, obviously, Uraraka doesn't know this, but, like, in the very beginning of the show, he's like, "This is how I become the greatest hero of all time." Dory doesn't
Uraraka
need any
doesn't know that
fucking
he
help.
says that shit.
No, I don't think that she knows that. I don't think
Somebody
that
should
she
tell
hears the
her.
narration, yeah, of the
Somebody should
show.
tell her that Deku's talking smack. Real quick about that scene, right? I
Yeah.
never noticed it. I hope I just have a I don't know. I don't know if I hope I have a bad memory or if I hope this is the first time they've done this. She's running and then she's unsure if she should go to Deku or to fight with Mina and Mineta.
Mhm.
Why the fuck does she have heels on her boots?
Her shoes are like that.
The littlest, tiniest heels in the world that I feel like it would be impossible to walk in, never mind sprint in. Never mind have it be a logical choice to put on the boots of a hero, girl or
Yes.
not, I don't care. Um, have they always been there?
I
Or
think so. I think they have. And it's very silly because I'm gonna tell you something. I wear heels for work, okay? Like little stiletto high heels. I'm used to them. I can walk. I can even run in them on a solid floor. You put me on any kind of grating, you put me in the grass, and I am useless. Like, what a stupid thing for a hero to have. You can't walk any kind of dirt. Your heel sinks in because there's no flat support. It's just very dumb.
I feel like most of the and I can't think of what they all have off the top of my head, obviously, but I feel like most of the other female students have like boots of some
Boots.
kind.
Yeah,
And
I just assumed everyone wears combat boots.
and that's not to say Uraraka doesn't have boots, but hers are the only one with this pointy little fucking 1 inch heel.
Heel.
It's pointless.
It is stupid.
I'm
I
mad
agree.
and it's sexist.
Mm,
Horikoshi, you better knock that shit. Although I do kind of wonder if that's a Studio Bones decision or a Horikoshi decision.
stylized thing.
Because
I don't
like
know.
Horikoshi will be like, yeah, these are 15-year-old girls and draw them all soft and shit. And then Studio Bones gets them and they're like,
They're like,
boo.
yeah.
Yeah, look at this cake, cake, cake.
There's a really it's very prominent in the episode where they wear cheerleading outfits for the sports festival because somebody put a side by side, you could find it on the internet, it's everywhere. A side by side of the manga clip where they're like very normal sized looking, like regular 15-year-old girls would be, and then they show the anime clip of it where they're very skinny and they've got these little waists and these like big hips, and it's just like, was that necessary? Like,
It's
I
like the
don't think so.
same picture, but with big old anime titties on top.
Yeah. They're like,
Drawn by
this
a
needs
5-year-old.
this needs some titties. That's what they were
Well,
thinking.
I'm very upset about the heel choice. Okay. So I just want to get
No, me
that
too.
Uraraka grievance out there.
No, I also was like, and these look stupid. I think they look really dumb.
So distracting that we had to take several minutes to talk about it today on the
Yes,
podcast.
just that clip of her feet. But I'm glad she went back because she shows up kind of in the nick of time. Mineta, this part was so funny. Mineta tries to attack Shota, who's the twin impact guy, and he's like, I haven't they call me the mobile god bod. And he's like all like metallic looking or something. It was the silliest thing I'd ever seen in my life. I was like, what is this? God bod?
Yeah, I
What?
don't I don't get that joke either. I definitely grabbed a
I don't
screen cap
understand.
of it for Instagram this week, but
Kind of
I
dad bod.
yeah, what the fuck's a god bod? Just
God
like
bod.
a thick boy with some
And then
bootleg
I'm
Saiyan
like,
armor?
is God ripped? Like, do
That dude ain't
people
ripped.
think of God as being like really muscular? I don't.
I think of him that real whenever I think of God
Gandalf.
or Jesus rather, I think of him up on the cross looking all gaunt and shit.
Yeah, well, that's Jesus.
Hey man,
Jesus.
Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. They're all the same dude.
You think
Jesus'
so?
muscles are God's muscles. Don't you know anything about Jesus? God damn it.
Sorry. You know what? I should totally go back to Sunday school.
Yeah, go back to fucking church school. Is that
Yeah,
what they
and then
call it?
I'll be like, I have a question. When do we learn about God bod? Because that's what I came here for. So
So I know this is
their
kind of a weird
syllabus.
way to find yourself in Sunday school, but
Mm.
I make a podcast about a Japanese cartoon called My Hero Academia. And recently in episode 99, they had this joke about a fat guy having a God bod. Could you speak to anything
Deal
about
with that.
Jesus or God or the Holy Spirit being a thick boy with some bootleg Saiyan armor? Or is this Japanese cartoon kind of leading me astray on the holy word of our Lord?
Like, how long do I have to be pen pals with God before I can like ask him personal questions about his God bod? I'm just curious. Like a week? Does he have a lot of correspondence? Like 2 weeks? I don't feel
How
like I can commit to more than that.
How often can I
So,
expect a reply from God? Should I wait
yeah.
until I got a reply back before sending him my second letter? Because I got lots of questions.
Does he just leave me on red? Because I don't feel like I'm into that. I don't know.
Yeah, I hope God doesn't text people back in a timely manner. He should probably make them wait because, he's God.
Mm, that's why I'm not interested.
Yeah, he's a real dick. Wasn't saying he wasn't a dick, but he's got all the powers. God. Our God is an
God
awesome
bod.
God indeed. God bod.
Well, I liked that part. I thought it was really funny. Um, so they're kind of like in trouble, right? And Uraraka swoops in and just karate chops Poltergeist Emily right in the neck. Oh my god. Hiya! Seriously. I was like, oh my god. I'm so glad that she learned martial arts because it just like improved her character by 1,000 times. Like,
It's an interesting, like, you just forget about it all the time because she's got the
until she
sweetest
brings
little
it up.
face and she's
Yeah.
got like such a positive attitude. And then she's like, I will arm bar you right over the bridge and then karate chop you in the neck.
Yep.
I don't care.
And like that girl completely collapses. She's just like out for the count. Done.
So there's a scene in a Dragon Ball TV special, the Future Trunks special, where Gohan and Trunks get their ass whipped. And then Trunks
Nice.
and him train a little bit. And Trunks is like, yeah, let's go fight those androids. It'll be dope. And Gohan realizes that there's no way he's going to be able to talk him out of it. So he's like, all right, let's go. And they like turn to go fly away. And Trunks is like 6 inches ahead of him. And Gohan just like raises his hand up and pop, just drops him on the ground.
Nice.
Like that's what Uraraka did to
I know.
that poltergeist chick today. It was awesome.
She's just like, night night.
Good night.
Oh my gosh. And then she pushes Rule into the sticky trap, right? And then Mina is like, I don't give a crap about no god bod. I'm gonna punch you in the face. Cha.
Don't don't touch the great buckler, or I will great buckle your ass into the pavement.
It's nice. I was like, all right, Uraka, that was some smooth moves. Now, all of that being said, I sort of was expecting there to be a brawl.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
you know what I mean? Where was the brawl? That's all. I was just like, okay, one, I rarely get to use the word brawl. Okay.
it's a fun word.
Very rarely get to use it. And I just feel like it was not appropriately applied in this case, which is disappointing.
So you feel like you've been sold a bill of false goods.
Yes, I do.
Hmm.
I feel like I was promised a god bod and then I got a dad bod, which is fine. I prefer a dad bod, to be honest.
Hmm. Um, yeah, I guess I didn't. My problem with this episode, however, brawl or brawlistic it wasn't. Brawlistic. That's a fun new word. It was just so short. Like
I was.
I didn't need like a big major throwdown or anything, but like they shove a lot of shit into the first 9 minutes of this episode, including the fucking opening theme song and the
Mhm.
recap from last week. So really, like 5 minutes of this episode is so action packed that like honestly, there were parts of it that I didn't catch until I watched it for the second time
Second
today,
time.
and it just
Then the rest is
it's kind of
so
frustrating to know like the second half of the episode so little happens, or it's not even that's almost to say like nothing happens in the second half of the episode. A little bit does, but
little happens.
it's it just makes no sense. Like how much time they allocate to each thing. It's fucking dog shit. I
It
don't
was really frustrating.
I don't get it. It's like if you've got this many things to show us over the course of 5 minutes, instead of taking the last fucking 13 minutes each week and giving the slow burn and being like a cool down mode, uh, get your fucking pacing together, Studio Bones. What the fuck, man? How could the first
Mm.
3 seasons of this show be so beautifully paced out? And the last 2 seasons for me have just been like banging my head against the wall where I have to watch things 2 or 3 times just to be like, did I miss something? Oh, I
Yes.
did. Oh, is it because I can't read? No, I can read. All right. Mark it down. I can read. And
It's
I just can't.
marked. It's been marked.
It's because I say I can't read all the time. That's a joke.
No,
But
I know.
it-
I know you can read because you were reading those manga chapters.
oh, shit. I gave myself away earlier.
Yeah.
I gotta really reconsider this whole not being able to read thing, I guess. But my point is, I'm not a noob to watching things with subtitles on them, and usually don't have any issues at all. This is the one show where I'm like, wait a minute, pause, rewind. Did I just read this right? Is this how the why is the pacing so breakneck at times and so fucking stagnant at others?
I agree because all that
Ugh.
happens for the whole rest of this is that, I mean, you know, Midoriya catches Shinso. And in kind of a cool way, he like uses his own wraps against him, like wraps them around his body and then kind of just like body slams him into the ground. So, you know, that was kind of cool, but it was really quick. You know, they all go to jail.
Right to jail.
And then like what else happens? Midnight is the commenter now because Vlad was too biased. Like ha 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 hilarious. Okay. We find out like we get a recap. Okay, class A wins. Cool. We have the little, you know, wrap up with Aizawa Sensei where they talk about what's going on, where basically they were just like, Midori, you're a fucking hot mess. Like, get your shit together. Okay.
I love the how Aizawa leads into that thing. He's like, "All right, let's do the critique. Let's just get out of the way."
Yeah. Midoriya, what
Midoriya,
the fuck?
what's up, dude?
Yeah. Like, you good? Like, you good? Are you okay?
That was genuinely funny.
But it's like, I don't know. Uraraka's matured. I like that he mentions that because we get a little flashback from when she was, you know, really scared with the overhaul fight. She was like nervous to be part of a real villain fight. And he said that this time she reacted, you know, way better in a crisis. I was glad he mentioned that. Shinso. Okay. This is the other thing that irritated me. Shinso passes this test, right? He's like, this was your test. You pass.
And then that's
What
it.
does that
Yeah.
mean?
What happens now?
What does that mean?
Does he
Yeah,
take over
like,
somebody like I think we said it last week or the week
does he
before. It's
take
like,
someone's spot?
is he
Does
an
he just get
addition to
added
one of the
in?
yeah, there's
It's the end
no
of the year. Are they gonna just let him join next year at the start of the school year? They just don't say shit about it. Like what was the point of all of that?
and I thought about that too, like how long will it be? Because he passed, right? And it's like
He
the
passed.
transfer thing or whatever.
Mhm.
So it's pretty much a conclusion that he's now going to be able to join the hero course.
Hero course.
But the way in which some of this shit's plotted out, especially this is the perfect example is this arc.
Mhm.
This morning of a class has taken 12 episodes for us to
So
get through
long.
3, 4 months, whatever 3 months. They could, and I, with the full disclosure that I don't know what's about to happen next, they could make it, they could plot it out in a way where we don't check in with Shinso for quite a while, but very little time in the story has actually
Mhm.
elapsed. Like they could go over to just having a Deku training thing where he does a lot of whatever soul searching with his all for one. Wow, damn it, one for all
Right.
quirk and the Shinso thing. I don't know if that'll actually happen, but if something like that were to happen, you could have a lot of shit built in, but like only a couple of days have passed in the actual terms of the canon story.
Right.
So it could be several chapters, several episodes, could be till next season, that we don't we find out what happens with Shinso joining the classes at this point. They can they can plot it out however they want, take their time and do it. We could go check in with the fucking villains. Like
Right.
we haven't
Who
seen
knows?
we saw Dobby, I think, early in the season for like
Yep, in
two
the
and a half seconds,
flashbacks and
and that's
stuff, yeah.
pretty much it. Like, what are the
We
villains been
got
up
that
to?
one little glimpse of All for One in jail.
Oh yeah, that's true too. So we know that he's about to
Right.
have some shit
Like a
go
little
down.
tease. Yeah.
Yeah. So they could just
But I
flash over to
agree.
villain stuff for the future, like well, rest of the season. And
Okay.
then yeah.
I was just gonna say, I know that I said I was gonna complain at the end, but I just feel like this is where my complaint is,
All right.
okay?
Complaint corner, Kelly.
Is
Kelly
that
complaint corner.
we just had all these episodes. Well, and I'm just saying that I love this show. Like, I do love the show. I read the manga, like, I'm invested in the characters, but I do not understand how they could make this so boring right now. Am I the only one who feels like this is so boring? Like, you have all of the ingredients for a delicious fucking stew, and you're just like not cooking it. I don't understand. Like, All Might was forced into retirement. You have a society that is in unrest. You guys don't have a main hero. You have an entire league of villains that is after, like, to make, they're just trying to make mayhem, and the main guy has, like, a personal vendetta against All Might and also against Midoriya, and you have all of this stuff going on, and all of these really cool, interesting high school kids with superpowers, And I just feel like, why are we not at all getting any of that during this? You know what I mean? Like, couldn't we get this kind of little training arc and still get like some glimpses of some of the stuff that's happening in society to keep it more three-dimensional? Because I agree, I cannot believe that we just spent 12 episodes in a single morning class with these kids, okay? And this next episode, so this is why I'm so irritated, is that this next episode, because we get the little thing, what is it called? The next power
The
for One
next
for All.
power in All for One.
This next episode, I mean, we see Erie, which I think is fun, and I'm happy about that. But this next episode looks so fucking boring. I don't even want to watch it.
It looks like a filler episode.
It looks so
And
boring.
what's the other telltale sign of a filler episode is throwing in some old character favorites that you haven't seen in a minute.
Yep, just to be
Erie
like,
and Mirio.
woohoo, we get to see them. And
Yeah.
I'm
Don't be too
furious.
mad at us because Erie's here and she's cute and she's smiling.
Yeah. "Hey, look at Mirio. Hey, look at Erie. Awesome." Like, I am so pissed. I cannot wait. But and I'm also really irritated because, like, I have literally no idea, like you said, what's gonna happen in this next arc. Like, they have not given us anything to really look forward to. Everything's so vague. Like, are we going to be diving into these new quirks? Because this is kind of a big reveal for a lot of people. Are we going to be like learning more about Endeavor? Like, why did we have such an Endeavor heavy, pro hero heavy stuff at the end of the last season? And now it's like nobody even brings them up. Who cares? You know what I mean? I just don't understand. I don't get it. And I'm frustrated. So that's my complaint. I know that maybe it's not the best, like, policy to complain about a show that you're doing a podcast on. I do
Kelly,
love the
do
show,
you ever
but
hear the things that come out of my mouth? All I do is complain about
that's
shit that
true.
I love. So,
Okay, that does make me feel a little better because then I'm
yeah.
like, am I just being ungrateful? Like, am I being an ungrateful fan? Like, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think I'm asking for the moon. I'm just asking for a little bit of like a narrative story that kind of pulls us all forward instead of I feel like I'm like wading around in a kiddie pool. Like I
Yes.
don't understand what's happening. Like, where are we going? It's very confusing. And I've read the manga. So like I know what's happening and I'm still like, what? Where are we going with this right now?
Yeah, well, I feel like I'm waiting around in some little kid shit, waiting for the, like you said, if there was a way for them to show us glimpses of what else is happening with, the villains, the outside world, Endeavor,
Anything.
whoever else, the greatest strength
Yes.
of this show, in my opinion, is the world in which it is set. Yes, it
Right.
has some wonderful characters. Deku Izuku Midoriya is going to be one of like the legendary shonen characters when it's all said and done. No doubt about it in my mind. It doesn't necessarily mean we have to spend like 12 full episodes with him and his classmates and
All
not
the
see
time.
anything else that's going on. Like,
Yes.
you got to mix it up. You have to, variety is the spice of life, right?
Right. Mix some outside stuff in. Even if you're just bringing up like the political unrest. You know what I mean? Like showing us maybe rising crime and like reminding us that there's no symbol of peace. Like remind us of this stuff because I feel like people for like not forget necessarily, but when you don't bring it up at all, it makes it almost unrealistic when you bring it back up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It
I would say that
irritates
one
me.
thing this show has done well is remind the viewers of the world's history as the actual narrative of the story is playing out, specifically like all the things up through season 3. Like,
Mm,
you kind of get reminders that All Might is like this otherworldly power and this celebrity that everyone knows, and he's changed the world for the better. You get some reminders of that. Now he's just some fucking skinny dude looking like a broom in a suit, hanging out on the
hanging
sidelines, trying
around.
to run up to his coworkers and keep up with them.
Yeah, like, doesn't
Which,
know what's going on, like, what his place is right now.
yeah, and honestly, he might be kind of like the perfect analogy for like what this season is. Like, he doesn't know where the fuck his place is in the
Mm,
world as a teacher, as a hero, as a mentor, as anything to Deku and the other students, but this show doesn't know if it wants to be like a more serious narrative driven thing right now or if it wants to be a show that you can have, repetitive sort of like repetitive premises is probably a little too harsh of a criticism and not a very valid one, but it's valid for this season because it's the same format for the first 12 episodes of the season. It's just new match. Oh, it's the conclusion of the last match. Oh, it's a new match, conclusion of the
Next
last match.
match.
Like it's been super repetitive. I feel like they don't know if they want to be um a more serious narrative driven anime or if they want to be able to give themselves the flexibility to push in some filler-ish type shit. It's tough to say that it's filler because it's taking place in the books, but I
Yeah.
guess you would if you were at Studio Bones, what you would have to do, and I honestly, given how much time between the 2 seasons,
It was a
blows
whole
my
year.
blows my fucking mind they can't get a handle on it, but if I were Studio Bones, I would go to Horikoshi and be like, "Hey, this whole thing where you had these kids beat the shit out of each other for, like, 6 months or however, like, if it's 5 episodes a chapter, dude, was this arc, like, going on for almost a year?
This, so it kind of is
Or
hard for me to say
half a
because I
year, I
read
would
it.
say.
Yeah, I when I started reading it, there was a lot of episodes already out, so I wasn't really reading it weekly
Yeah.
at the time. I think it probably was on for, like, a good 5 months, yeah, of that being the story.
Yeah, so
But the thing
last
is,
last week, it worked out to be 5 chapters into 1 episode, so if it's 5
yeah,
matches, 5 chapters-ish per, that's
yeah,
20 to
25
25
weeks.
chapters.
It's
That's,
half a year.
yeah, that's a half a goddamn year. If I worked at Studio Bones, I would go to Horikoshi and be like, "Hey, dude, remember that time you made the poor decision to have a bunch of kids kick the shit out of each other for 6 months on the page because you were, like, busy and, I don't know,
Yeah.
needed to allocate your
Can
time
we,
and
like,
dedication to other things? Let
edit that a bit?
us
Yeah.
not even edit it, but just tell the story in a way where, like, you can keep in touch with other parts of the world at the same time. Because this shit is mind-numbingly boring sometimes.
Mhm. No,
When
I agree.
when the best thing that happens is Deku gets a fucking wrap, he catches the wrap, and then he wraps it up around his waist and choke slams
4
a dude on the
seconds.
ground. That was the best 4
4
seconds in the
seconds.
23 minutes plus this week.
And we got to see Shinso and Aizawa have, like, a little bit of a fun moment in a field. I was like, "Cool."
Oh,
Those are
yeah.
my favorite parts. So boring. And the thing too is that it's not like this show is like what happened with One Piece. Because what happened with One Piece is that the show caught up to the manga really quickly and then had to do a lot of filler because it was still coming out every week, and so they did a lot of filler arcs. This show, I'm not I'm not an animator, okay? So I'm not gonna just say that I know everything, but what's happening right now versus what's happening currently in the manga, like, there is a lot of stuff, a lot of things happen. They have a ton of terrain to cover, okay? Which is exciting. There's gonna be a lot of really awesome things that happen in this story, but there's so much that there isn't really a big risk of, like, cutting this storyline that they just had. If they'd cut that, like, 4 episodes shorter, it's not like they're gonna catch up to what's happening right now super fast. There is a
Yeah.
lot of things that happen, a lot.
I
So I'm like,
mean, it's 6 months on and a year off,
"Come on,
basically, is what
yeah."
it's worked to be out for this anime, as where One Piece, Dragon Ball before it, they aired every single week, rain or shine, no season
No
breaks.
stop. Yep.
So the filler thing was pretty much inevitable with those 2, but the way that MHA is intentionally designed as a anime series, it's to avoid that and to keep
Yes.
things pretty close to what the manga. I do like that they'll do, an OVA here or there or like an original story. I think in season 2, we get that weird Froppy episode where she's off with the walrus
Oh,
guy
yeah, for
busting up drug
her
de like, I was cool with
her
that. I
thing, yeah.
that was fun. I don't care that it's not in the books or it's only like referenced and it happens off screen in the books. I don't give a shit about that. I
Yeah,
just
Froppy's awesome.
pace your shit out better. This is such a fucking slog. Like, and I love this show. You know what I just realized
Same.
talking to you just now? This is the first episode that I've watched this season that didn't make me cry for some stupid reason or another. I shed no tears in this episode, and I'm pretty much good
Wow.
for at least 1 or 2 every week.
That is such a criticism.
Yeah,
Like,
man,
seriously. Yeah.
I didn't even cry this week. You guys
I
are fucking up.
know. And it was the big, woohoo, class 1A1 and Midoriya beat Shinso, and it was like the big build up, and it was just so boring.
I get why they did it a little bit because again, Bakugo did the same thing.
At
Deku's
least
gonna do
his
the
fight
same
was
thing.
interesting though.
Yeah, because it was much more,
Fast-paced and
it was fast
actiony.
paced, it was flashy, obviously, too, because of the explosions, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I just there wasn't a bit. I think maybe we have to look at it from 2 different points of view because the Bakugo thing and when it happens, how it happens, he
Mm.
doesn't have any kinda, like, life-defining moment in the middle of his match, like, in the first 30 seconds as it heats up. He just gets in there, whoops ass, and we're like, "Hell yeah, Bakugo, you're being efficient with your time and ours, and we appreciate you."
Yes.
But Deku, it's like the match starts and you're like, "Oh, let's see how this goes. We're finally at the 5th match." And it's like, "Oh, shit. Look, this crazy thing happened that nobody expected." And then the match comes back and it's like, "All right, bloop, we're done."
Back to the normal,
We just
yeah.
waited 12 episodes just to see you choke slam a dude and get a new power, kind of.
Yeah.
Eh.
Yeah. Eh.
All right. So episode 100 next week, the next
Yes.
power and all for one. We have an Erie and Mirio sighting. Present Mike is there as well, talking about some stuff.
Cool.
Can't
I'm into
wait.
that.
Can't wait,
Yeah.
man. Can't wait. Can't wait. Can't
So
wait. Can't
excited.
wait. So we're sitting here
So,
recording today on Monday, the June the 7th.
yes. It's like so hot. We've finally been having real summer weather.
Yeah, it's the fucking worst, dude. I'm starting to sweat in my pits. We had to turn off
Yeah,
our
literally.
ACs to keep the sound quality pristine for y'all. So before we go, we have a couple of birthdays,
Awesome.
and then we have a review. So
Awesome.
first and foremost, I'm gonna do. I did my friend's birthday last week. It was Fed's birthday last week, so he went last, right? But I'm gonna
Mhm.
start with Amber. Amber's birthday today. If you don't know Amber, she has done a bunch of different stuff on the she's Mike Norm's wife, Vaping Mike Norm, if you know him from Dragon Ball. But she turned 29 today, I want to say. And
Happy
she,
birthday.
yeah, she's my stupid little sister best friends. So I love her and happy birthday. She also did a bunch of the Death Note Super Dopes. If you're not on the Patreon, don't know about Death Note Super Dope. That's on you, Potsy. That's your loss. However, the My Hero Academia world has a very interesting birthday today that you got to watch me learn about before the show, Kelly.
Oh,
June
did I?
7th. Yeah, you did. I had a big freak out and I was like,
Oh,
holy shit, I
yeah.
can't believe this.
I
so,
literally, I got so into my complaining that I, blocked that out. You're quite right.
so the hero, his real name is Tenma Nakaoji. Okay, this is a hero character from the My Hero Academia Vigilantes manga spinoff. So it's I think it's still within the recognized canon of the world, but
Yeah.
not by Horikoshi himself. So not quite held to the same standard. But Tenma Nakaoji, his hero name is Purple Highness. And when I looked at the photo, it is so very evidently inspired by one Prince Rogers. Nelson, that's right. Prince himself inspired a My Hero Academia hero called His Purple Highness. And the additional kicker is that today, June 7th, is Prince's actual birthday.
Look at that.
So I'm a huge Prince fan. When he died, I was sad for like a week. I'm still sad about it every time. Every time I hear it, sometimes it snows in April. Fucking weeping willow, weeping mess. That's the word. Weeping mess. Weeping willow is a flower or something. I don't really know how flowers work, but um, the point is, Prince is near and dear to my heart, and to know that My Hero Academia has a Prince inspired hero, My Hero Academia, another thing very close to my heart. It makes my heart feel full. So happy birthday to Prince. Happy
Beautiful.
birthday to his Purple Highness, Tenma Nakaoji. That's about as good as I can probably say that name. It's a name I've never heard pronounced out loud.
His character design was cool.
Yeah, he looks just like the
Yeah.
purple one. If you don't know what I'm talking about, maybe you can go follow us on Instagram and I'll show you a picture of it or something. Real quick before we wrap up the show, we did have a review, so I'm going to read
Yay.
that to you. If you're enjoying the show, especially if you've made it to the last part of this episode, it
Mhm.
you're like, just over an hour in now. If you get all the way here and you don't leave us a review, I feel like that says more about you than it does us.
Yeah,
Okay?
it's like people that don't put the shopping cart away.
Or like you tip less than fucking 15%. Like, what are you, a
What are
dick?
you doing?
Dude. So this one is from Nick Q L ampersands. That's the at thing, right?
Yeah, I think so. Or no, that's the
No,
and
ampersand's the
sign.
and one.
Yeah.
What's the at symbol? Just
Isn't
an
it
at
just the at
symbol?
symbol? Yeah.
Fuck. What's the at symbol? Well, you just named it. Nick Q. Lol. But the A is spelled with the at symbol. Anyway, 5 stars review on Apple Podcasts. Make sure you
That's what we like.
If you're an Apple listener, give us that 5-star review. Write in a little nice thing and I'll read it. From Nick Q. Love this podcast. My one and only podcast for everything MHA. Love the breakdown of the episodes. I always learn something new. Damn right you do.
Awesome.
See things from a different perspective and appreciate little moments in the show. Thank you both, Kyle and Kelly. You know what, Nick? You are very welcome.
You're welcome. That's why we do it. It's fun.
Also, we do it for the dope memes, you know?
Yeah.
I
Well,
think I think this is the same Nick who tags us in some memes on the
I think so
Instagrams.
too, and I'm into it. So
We appreciate you,
keep
buddy.
on keeping on.
Keep it on, keep it on. So, all right, we get all our bitching out. We're ready to
I
turn our
think so.
ACs back on and
Yes. Oh my
stop
god.
sweating. Oh my
Oh my
god.
god, I'm so sweaty.
Yeah, if you want to see a video of us on being uncomfortable, it's in the show notes, youtube.com/. Oh, yeah, that's right. We don't have a vanity because nobody's fucking subscribing to this thing
Mm.
yet.
You
Yet.
guys, don't you want to see us get all sweaty? It's so gross.
I'm putting a lot of work into these thumbnails, dogs. Why don't you go click on them? My retention rate. Holmes. All
I
right.
mean,
Come on, dudes. Leave us a review, man. Do we have any other obnoxious shit to say before we? No, we're good.
no. Cheers to hopefully wrapping up this arc and
Yeah, next week's gonna be a week off, Kelly. So get ready
I
to.
need
And when I say week off, I don't mean like we're taking the week off, but next week's episode, I bet you won't do shit.
I don't think so either. Just looks I made
One,
him positive.
one what's really funny is we put out an episode from a couple weeks ago on your Haikyuu Nice Kill feed.
Mm,
And like you did a thing in the intro, for your listeners, and then we dropped the thing in the episode that we did. And then on
yeah.
the end of it, I added a little thing where I was like, me and Kelly did a bunch of coverage last year for season 4, and like we're in a good place in terms of where we are in the mic, but also, this season of My Hero Academia has been fucking great. And then I recorded that last night, and then I record this episode with you today. And I was like,
We're
motherfucker,
just talking so much shit.
why do I gotta be such a liar? Uh, whatever. Gonna raise my hand with the peace sign and the season 5 sucks ball too.
Nice.
Yeah,
Oh, amazing.
love it.